So we're back again today, folks, and I've spent about another hour so far today working on the other side of the hedge, and things are coming along very well. But I have to admit that I'm a little bit overwhelmed. It's quite a bit of work. So I keep reminding myself, just take it one cut at a time, one piece at a time, and it's going to be fine. I find on days when I don't have the motivation I wish I did, if you just stay focused and just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, the next thing you know, you look back and you got a ton done. So with that being said, let me take you and show you how I'm doing this, what I'm doing to be efficient with my motion. The less you can move to get more done, the better. I'm cutting, so if I'm cutting branches here, I'm cutting branches and laying them down on the ground and making a pile. And by making that pile, I'll take 5 or 6 cuts, make a pile, and then drag the whole pile over by the road. So you're working efficiently. You move it once, cut it, put it in the pile, wait till you got 5 or 6 pieces, pick up the whole pile, drag it to the curb, and then I won't touch it again until it's time to chip. What I'd like to do now is show you some of the cuts I use, and first I'm going to show you how I cut just to get brush out, the rough cuts, and then later we'll go into the more detailed cuts. Behind me there's a Japanese maple. It's a green leaf Japanese maple, and it's about 12 feet tall, and I want to get it out of the tree. So let me show you how I go ahead and do that. So this is the Japanese maple I'm looking to get rid of, and it's probably about 3 inches in diameter. Now this one's got a pretty good lean. It's leaning this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and use the same cut you would use if you were cutting a tree. We're going to make a bottom cut and make a notch about 1/3 of the diameter of the tree. And now that we've got that notch, we're going to come up about 1 inch higher and cut from the back. And this way we're going to control the direction of the fall. Now usually I won't cut all the way, I'll let it fall naturally, then I can put my saw away, grab it, and just drag it out. The second cut I'm using, and remember, we're not trying to be fancy yet. Right now all I want to do is cut everything high, and then I can come back later and decide where I'm going to cut things. So the second cut I use is something I also learned from arborists, where what I'll do is I'll come through and I'll cut from one side about halfway before the saw gets pinched, and then I'll cut on top. I'll go up about 1/4 to 1/2 inch and cut on top, and I'll cut a little bit farther. And you just kind of have to get a feel for it. And you see what's happening? It's supported. I always make sure I'm not under the branch when I make this cut, but now it'll just break off that easy, and I can use my 2 hands to pull the branch out. I've managed to cut back, do the heavy cut back on all the shrubs, and I've cut out all the saplings. There was some Andromeda in there, there were some Japanese maples, and all that's left now is one more sapling, but it's more like a tree. If you take a look right where the ladder is, there's a sugar maple that, let's see if we can show you. If you take a look right here, this is a sugar maple. Now it splits off just above the hedge, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the ladder and I'm going to notch it just like I showed you and cut it off in 2 pieces at the top. It's too heavy that I don't want to take it as one piece because the wind might grab it or it'll go too far into the yard. So I'm going to climb the ladder and cut that off, but if you're not comfortable with saws or ladders, I really would just call a friend. This tree isn't too big for me, but you know, be comfortable with what you're doing, because I've seen so many videos on YouTube where people cut huge branches, and then the branch doesn't cut all the way, and it like swings down, hits the ladder, and then some guy ends up falling off a ladder and gets really hurt. So I'm comfortable doing this, but trust me, if it was a much bigger tree, I'd say, you know what, we got to get an arborist in here. So folks, that's going to just about do it for today. And I have to say that, you know, after I got I feel much better. You know, I was kind of feeling overwhelmed, and now I just got this feeling like I got this. All the brush is pruned out of there, the stuff we didn't want. I've narrowed out the sides on the hedge, so tomorrow when I come back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting everything down to about 5 to 6 feet. And the cool thing about a privet hedge, I have some samples here. These are some cuts that were made by somebody with some very dull pruners. But the cool thing about a privet hedge is normally you would have to cut in the crotch to get new growth to start, but you can cut a privet just about anywhere and it's going to have new buds. So even though I'm going to cut some tomorrow that are going to be right at the tip like this, usually you want to prune at the fork of the shrub, it's going to be fine and grow fine. You see how this one got all that growth. And then here's another one, which I don't know how long ago this one was pruned, but if you take a look, it would have been cut right around here, and there's your new growth. So things are going to be very sparse, for lack of a better term, when I finish. But within a month, you're just going to see a ton of new blooms coming. I can't wait to come back and show you the end result. So we're about 5 or 6 feet off the ground. And if you see right here, we have some new buds coming, new growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a little bit above the new growth. I've just shortened this thing by about 6 feet. Shorten this thing by about 6 feet. And now when the growth starts, it'll start right here. The shrub next to it, I got a little bit of green right there. I'll clip above that.